Everybody watching football has been there. The crowd goes absolutely insane. The striker scores, arms up, pure chaos. And then, the flag goes up, the goal gets cancelled, and everyone around you nods like they understand exactly what just happened. But you have absolutely no idea why. That's offside. The most complained about rule in football, the rule that confuses beginners, frustrates experts, and somehow still manages to cause arguments in every single match. Today, we're fixing that, and in less than 4 minutes, you'll finally understand what offside is. Let's go. So what even is offside? Here's the simple version. When your teammate passes the ball forward to you, you cannot be beyond the last defender at the exact moment the ball is played. That's it. That's the whole rule. Now you're probably thinking, okay, but what does beyond the last defender actually mean? Imagine an invisible line stretched across the pitch. That line sits at the position of the second to last opponent. Usually, that's the last outfield defender. If any part of your body that you're allowed to score with, your head, your chest, your foot, is beyond that line when the ball leaves your teammate's foot, you're offside. In theory, easy. In practice, things get weird very quickly. So why does this rule even exist? Honestly, good question. Without offside, teams would just leave a striker standing next to the goalkeeper all game. Then they'd launch long balls forward over and over and over again. No tactics, no midfield battles, no clever movement, just one guy hanging around the goal like he's camping outside a store on Black Friday. Offside forces attackers to time their runs. It rewards defenders for smart positioning. It turns football into a game of intelligence, not just speed. And here's the weird part. The rule actually helps create more goals, not fewer, because it forces teams to push higher up the pitch, which creates more space. Yeah, football is strange sometimes. This is where most people get confused. Offside is not about where you are when you receive the ball. Let me say that again. It's not about where you are when you receive the ball. It's about where you are when the ball is played. That split second changes everything. So if your teammate kicks the ball forward, and at that exact instant you're level with the last defender, you're onside, completely legal. You can then sprint past the defender, collect the ball, and score. No problem. That's why professional players spend the entire match timing their runs perfectly. They're constantly dancing right on the edge, waiting for the exact moment to explode forward. Sounds simple? Trust me, it isn't. The two-part test. For offside to be called, two things must happen at the same time. First, you must be in an offside position, meaning you're beyond that defender line. Second, you must be actively involved in the play. That means receiving the ball, challenging for it, or clearly affecting an opponent. Here's the important part. Simply standing in an offside position, totally legal. No whistle, no flag, no problem. You can stand there all day if you want. The referee only cares when you become part of the action. You know that striker who seems offside every time the camera cuts to him, but somehow never gets called? Yeah, that's why. Smart, annoying, completely legal. VAR and the offside nightmare. Now we arrive at the part that drives football fans absolutely crazy. VAR, the Video Assistant Referee. VAR introduced something called the offside line check, and this is where things get ridiculous. Officials literally draw lines on the screen to measure whether a player's shoulder, armpit, or kneecap was slightly beyond the defender. We're talking millimeters, on a pitch that's over 100 yards long. And yes, goals get canceled because of it. Goals that look perfectly fine to every human being watching. The crowd celebrates, the players celebrate, the commentators lose their minds. And then, 3 minutes later, a graphic appears showing that someone's shoulder blade was technically offside. In theory, it's fairer. In practice, it makes you want to launch your remote control directly through the television. The goalkeeper rule. Quick bonus round. One more thing. The goalkeeper counts as one of the defenders. That's why the rule uses the second to last opponent, not simply the last defender. Most of the time, the goalkeeper is the deepest player, so the last outfield defender becomes the reference point. But if defenders push way up the pitch and the keeper stays behind them, everything changes. Suddenly, you only need to beat one player's position to be onside. This is also why defenders sometimes sprint forward together in perfect synchronization. They're trying to trigger an offside trap. Get it right, and the flag goes up. Get it wrong by a single second, and the attacker is through on goal. So here's where we land. You're watching the World Cup. The striker makes a run. The pass is played. The flag goes up. Now, you know exactly what happened. Someone's knee or shoulder or toe was a tiny bit beyond an invisible line at one specific millisecond in time, and that was enough to cancel the goal. The offside rule is incredibly simple in theory and unbelievably frustrating in practice. And somehow, that tension, that tiny moment between the pass being played and the flag going up, is part of what makes football so exciting. If you understood all of that, congratulations. You now understand offside better than roughly half the people arguing about it online. And that's not even a joke. If this helped, hit subscribe, because the World Cup is coming, and football has about 15 more rules that seem completely confusing until somebody finally explains them properly. That's what we do here. See you in the next one.